doctor could say. I mean, if you know basic things, you know that that's not true. Look at Dr. Esselstyn's work. Probably he's the best one to look at. Esselstyn, when he was told 35 years ago, you're going to need cardiovascular surgery, bypass surgery, he basically said, no, I'm going to stop eating animals. And why? Because he saw his colleagues who were cardiovascular surgeons pulling animal fat out of arteries. So in 1 year, he completely reversed his own. So here's pictures, completely clogged. Here they are, completely open. So they were so angry at this guy because he was one of them. It wasn't like me yelling about them, it was him yelling about them. So it was like a traitor. So he basically got 10 people they handed him that were the worst cases you could imagine. I'm surprised these people didn't all die. And 100% of them, 10 of them within 1 year completely took the clog out of their arteries. This diet is even much better than what he was suggesting. And if you use, he's against supplementation, by the way, he's old school. If you can do this with the supplements we're suggesting and some of the IV therapies that we're doing here, if you don't get over that quick, you'd be the first one in the history of man. And so it's nonsense.
It's not related to teeth?
Oh yeah, that's different. So about 2 months ago, I had an alumni come here. I know this guy. I look him in the eye, he does eat this way. He doesn't kid me.
Yeah.
He does exercise. He's exactly my age, this guy. Goes to the doctor, thank God. The doctor says, you're about ready to have a stroke. We need to admit you to the hospital. He wanted me to tell him that wasn't true. I said, you're about ready to have a stroke. Look at this. He said, but I do everything right. Bingo, open your mouth. He needed 8 teeth to be taken out. He had total infection. He couldn't even chew things at this point. Because as a child, as a child, never ate food. It was all candy and sugar, etc. Now he lives like a saint. That's what we had to do. This poor guy didn't have any money, so he had to go to Costa Rica. Not anything wrong with that, but he went to Costa Rica and had the dental work done for half the price of what it was. Within a matter of a month, just 2 weeks ago I saw him. The thing is 75% gone.
So is the reason because bacteria goes into the arteries?
Yeah. Harvard told us that. Harvard's 31 years ago told us that. That periodontal disease directly affects cardiovascular concerns, as well as cancer. The list goes on, as well as diabetes.
Yeah.
Because inflammation will expedite whatever your weakness is. Do you follow me?
Yes.
So in most cases, it's going to be like him, clogged artery. But in some cases, the inflamed artery is going to create diabetes or cancer, worse.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
If you have high mercury levels, what does the body need as another element to eliminate the mercury?
You need infrared saunas and chlorella. When studies have been done, and here, by the way, we have 12 infrared saunas on the campus. I am a zealot about infrared saunas. I don't go one day, ever, without taking a sauna. If you want me to come to your place in the world to lecture, I don't come unless you have saunas there. I mean it. Saunas are a mandatory thing, or I just don't come anymore. Because everyone, no matter how healthy or unhealthy you are, we're being exposed to heavy metals. And when you already have mercury and God knows what else, cadmium and other things going on, when we compared in research studies, chelation therapy, which is a big money maker from alternative doctors, it's only 1/2 as effective. And it costs a lot of money. That's why I don't do it here. I'll refuse to do it, because we know that you could buy an infrared sauna, take chlorella, now have the infrared sauna the rest of your life, and get rid of it twice as fast. And forget one thing, drink, drink, drink. If you'd like to drink 1 cup, I want you to drink 2. If you'd like to drink 2, I want you to drink 4. Flush, flush, flush. Chlorella, your body weight, you should be taking for at least 3 or 4 months, 70 to 80 a day. Now, ideally, you don't take 80 at once. Take 20, 20, 20, 20, water, 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 and be in that sauna for up to an hour a day. Perfect world, 35, 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes. Much cheaper, much better, and you feel good, by the way, at the end.
What temperature?
The 120 will make it 160 inside of your body, so that's about it. Infrared's different than normal sauna. Now, when I travel, unless I'm in Germany, I don't get infrared saunas. Hotels in Germany seem to have them, not here. Yes?
Follow up on the tips. Root canal, silver fillings, and what would you prefer? Implant, bridge, or in town?
Okay. So here's what we want to talk about. Number one, when you look at the hierarchy of what damage this can do, mercury in the teeth are a big time problem. But I'm not sure it's any worse or any better than root canals. So these are two evil things. Now, how many of you know that back a century ago, and I even remember my aunts and grandmothers saying it, if I was a little boy and walked into the room, there was a thermometer. I didn't know what a thermometer was. They'd say, watch out, don't go near the thermometer. They thought of mercury like we do nuclear waste. How many of you are old enough to remember that? They knew that. They said, wow, that's like, wow, don't go near that. In the heyday of this, in the 19th century, the only people that got dentistry were the kings, queens, and princesses, because they had to use what? Gold. The technology back 150 years ago, they only knew how to melt gold. Somebody said, hey, we're not going to make enough money just taking care of a handful of people. We've got to melt metal. Now, back then, the only thing they knew that could melt metal was what? Mercury. But at the same damn time, they knew mercury killed you. Remember, they knew better mercury killed you than people do today. Much better. That's why grandmothers and aunts would yell and scream, don't go into the room. Now, with that said, the first generation of dentists, they only got a few lunatics to do the work because they didn't want to handle this stuff. But here's the bullshit artist and how they do it. So the industry comes in, starts to rewrite the books for medical school, dental school, and say, we've done some secret testing on this, and we found out that mercury everywhere else is damaging, but when you put it in the mouth, it's safe. So the second generation of dentists, they said, oh, well, you know, the University of Stupido said that, so of course they went along. By the third generation, they laugh at us. And the word quack comes from a German word, quicksilver. They call this quicksilver in Germany. So the Germans initially knew, they were smart enough to say, this stuff is damaging, but two generations later, they thought the University of Hamburg or something did enough studies to say it was fine. You know, this is how we're not smart. People are not smart today. They've never been smart. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable to me sometimes. So, if you want not only the mercury but the aluminium, all of these have it's called an amalgam. Do you know what that means? It's many metals put together. And by the way, it's not always consistently the same metals. So whatever the cheapest thing is for them to melt that week is what you get. So you may have this ongoing in your mouth. You know, if you go to medical school today, if you go to Oxford, if you go to Harvard, if you go to Stanford, these idiots tell medical doctors that the mouth is separate from the body. And they believe it. These are like Phi Beta Kappa students coming out of Stanford. Oh, well, it must be true because Professor Schnahuki said this. You know, it's nuts. Where else, if I wanted to make you sick, where else would I stick something? Your mouth, and leather up your ass otherwise. This or that's going to be the two places I want things to get in. That's it, one or the other. Now, so bad news. Now, make sure you get it's going to cost you more money to get the right dentist, but don't do it with the wrong dentist. Go to a woman or man who knows what they're doing, who's done this a long time. The sad news is, two of my close friends, dentists that worked with me, one died of brain cancer because he was heroic enough to know how important this was. And from all the fumes, even though he protected himself, he died of brain cancer. The second has Parkinson's disease. No question, this is why it happened. And if you look at dentists, the #1 suicide rate in any profession. Mercury in the brain makes you whacked. How about mercury in the mouth? Does it get to the brain? Makes you whacked. Okay, now let's get to root canals. Root canals are major. If you go over to Europe, they've done studies. They actually showed the teeth here next to the canine teeth. This tooth relates to this part. Every tooth goes to an organ. This tooth relates to this. They looked in Germany, at women with breast cancer. They either had one or both of those teeth with root canal, 61% of them. Now, does that mean it's the only cause of the root canal? No. The only cause of the breast cancer? No. But is root canal a major contributor? Yes. If you get 61%, basic math governs the fact that it's causing, at some level, that cancer. Maybe 5%, maybe 10%, but it's something. That we know. Does it mean it hurts another organ, the liver? Does it mean it hurts the heart? Sure it does. Just told you about the mouth and the guy that was here recently, a friend. You know, so it's damaging. Now the problem is, here's the concept of a root canal. You go to the dentist, you have an infection. Is the infection only in the tooth? How many think it's only in the tooth? It's systemic. It's systemic. You go through the body. How many of you have ever had an abscess tooth? I remember it. My leg hurt, my hip hurt. I was a boy. I was like 20-some years old. My stomach hurt. I never liked to go to the dentist because I spent half my life at a dentist as a child. I had more amalgam fillings. You know, I was the first rapper, by the way. If you opened my mouth in those days, you would have wore sunglasses to see it. So my whole mouth was like 85% with these fillings in there. And I go to the dentist, he touches it, I almost hit the ceiling. He said, "You have an abscess tooth." I didn't feel it in the tooth. It's systemic. Poison goes throughout the body. So the dentist comes in, drills your tooth out, drills the root, and all within a matter of a second, packs it in with some antibiotic. And then immediately fills it. You think that took the infection away? Here's what you do with the root canal. You take it out, you let it drain. You let it drain, you let it drain, you let it drain. And then after you let it drain, you put a bridge on there. Now we get to your third question. What do I think of implants? There's new implants out of Europe. You've got to look at them. They're just starting to use them here. They will use them. That are not so bad. That most implants go deeply into, again, this may be the heart, this may be the liver. Do you follow what I'm saying? These new ones are like this. So they don't go down and hit the root that goes into the organ systems. And so that would be what to wait for. But in the meantime, bridges. So when I had all these problems, I just put bridges in. Now, I'm not a fan of bridges, by the way. Because bridges, I have to drill down 2 teeth to put the fake tooth in the middle of that one. Zirconia. Use zirconia. Zirconia, if you know what a fake diamond is, they make that of zirconia. And they match exactly the color of your tooth. They have a thing, and they look at it, and they say, it will look just like your teeth. And that's what to do. Because zirconia, less than 0.5% of people react to it. Where composites, still a percentage of us react to it. Composites are what? Composites are plastic. Yeah, plastic. So we may or may not react to it. And composites don't last like zirconia. Yes?